You're watching WSIL TV3. And now, News 3 at 6 with Terry Caldwell, Amy Van Patten, meteorologist Jim Razor, and Mark Kiesling on sports.
Good afternoon. Terry is off today. Area health officials are on a search. They're looking for people who ate at the downtown Murfreesboro McDonald's on July 29th and 31st, as well as August 2nd. Doctors diagnosed a grill cook with hepatitis A. So far, this is an isolated case, but the possibility of contamination has health officials offering a shot that provides short-term protection. Jackson County health officials say McDonald's couldn't do much in the way of prevention, but as Vicki Duncan reports, some people aren't happy with how the restaurant handled the situation.
David Brown eats at the Murfreesboro McDonald's quite often, and when news of the hepatitis case came out, he got nervous because his wife is pregnant.
If I had been exposed, if there's a danger to her, she's expecting a baby in November, I'm sure she can't go now and get a shot to protect her from the hepatitis virus. If that would be necessary, yeah, that does concern me.
Now, health officials say hepatitis A is not uncommon. In fact, 20% of the cases go unreported.
This disease is prevalent throughout the United States. And we're a highly mobile society. I mean, and you never know what you're going to be exposed to. So, you know, the question coming up about, you know, is this common? Well, it can be.
While hepatitis A isn't necessarily an extremely serious illness, it's still something area residents are concerned about. And some aren't too happy with the way McDonald's has handled it.
I found out about it by a second or third-hand rumor. And it seemed to me that McDonald's would owe an obligation to their customers to take some kind of assertive action to let people know that there was a risk of possible exposure. I ate at McDonald's yesterday. When I went in, no one told me there was a possibility that I was being exposed to hepatitis.
McDonald's did not directly contact the health department, but officials say they've been cooperating since the case was confirmed. In fact, McDonald's is now considering paying the charge for antibody shots. In Murfreesboro, Vicki Duncan, News 3.
The health department is giving shots until 7 o'clock tonight. They are also open tomorrow. The shots are available tomorrow from 9 until noon. A Pinckneyville woman faces up to 30 years in prison for the death of her infant daughter. Police accuse Clarissa Hinkle with battery, involuntary manslaughter, and of hiding her daughter's lifeless body. 7-month-old Stephanie Stroline died Tuesday night. Police say the baby died of head injuries after being shoved to the floor.
I can't believe she'd do something like this, you know. It was uncalled for.
Hinkle remains in the Perry County Jail on $30,000 bond. She'll be back in court August 25th. An Alexander County judge says there's enough evidence to try Tyler Harrell for beating his son to death. Police say Harrell beat his son and then buried the body in some woods. Niquavius Williams' remains were discovered last June. Police arrested Harrell last month in Michigan. He returned to Southern Illinois, where he's accused of murder and concealing his son's body. Harrell is in the county jail on $100,000 bond. The Saline County Sheriff's Office is harvesting its largest pot bust in history. Deputies harvested another 1,000 plants today from the plot that had already yielded 1,000 plants the day before. Police say they spotted the marijuana from the air. They also say there's 6 more plots yet to be harvested. Deputies say the heat is slowing the operation down, but they'll be out there until every plant is cut down and burned. They're known for their snappy routines and precision dance, but this week's unsung heroes are doing more than just entertaining audiences. That story is coming up later in the news. But first, find out why the players' riverboat operations could be doubling in size.
Well, we're bringing in a bigger and a better boat.
Bigger and better. That's what Players Riverboat officials say will happen in November when they add a larger boat. And if the state approves, Players could be operating not 1, but 2 boats. As Ivor Bassett reports, either way, it will mean more jobs.
Have you ever been walking down this landing on a Friday or Saturday only to be told that the boat has reached its capacity and won't be receiving any more passengers? Well, if you have, your frustrations will soon be over.
We'll never have to turn away a customer again. The capacity is another 350 passengers per cruise, and so we won't have to turn anybody away. It's 4 decks.
Not only will the new riverboat bring gambling opportunities, it will also bring valet parking and raised parking that's covered. But the people of Metropolis may find the most important thing that the new riverboat brings is employment.
It could create up to almost 100 new jobs for us, you know, and then that's based on today's numbers, and then certainly if the business increases, then it can increase more. But
this increase in jobs and patrons has tourism officials excited as well.
With expansion going on, in addition to the riverboat, there has been many other things as far as tourism in helping in this area.
Everyone seems to be so excited about the new boat, but what about good old Players 1?
We may, at some point during the year, operate 2 boats simultaneously. We may sell this boat, we may put it in a dry dock, we may do all sorts of things with it.
So for those of you who have been turned away, the new boat should be on the Ohio and docked in Metropolis sometime between November 1st and December 1st. In Metropolis, Ivra Bassett, News 3.
The most popular herbicide for Illinois' corn farmers is under fire tonight. Farmers use atrazine in more than 80% of Illinois cornfields. It's an inexpensive but effective weed killer that's been in use since the 1960s. The federal government is reviewing the chemical because tests show atrazine is in many towns' drinking water. The government says that can have adverse health effects. Farmers say the fear is overblown.
And we just feel that someone has jumped on the bandwagon of trying to outlaw this, and we need it, and we feel like it's safe. If it wasn't safe, we wouldn't be putting it out here where our children and grandchildren are at.
Alternatives to atrazine would cost farmers about 4 times as much. The government will decide the fate of the chemical early next year. The Illinois State Fair in Springfield opened today, and for the first time in its 143-year history, the 10-day fair will not use any state money. The DuQuoin State Fair is working to do the same, as Eden Schultz reports.
The State Fair in Springfield opened today for a 10-day run without any money from the state, counting on corporate sponsorships and revenues from last year instead. But after the fair is over, it'll still rely on state money.
They're not addressing the year-round aspect of it. They have a lot more infrastructure than we do, a lot more buildings to maintain. They've got more staff members at Springfield than we do here.
Summers says the DuQuoin State Fair is trying to become self-sufficient year-round. For the past 5 years, they've taken less money from the state, and they hope to break even soon.
We want to come closer and closer, and I think this year we will again.
Summers hopes he can make an example of the Springfield Fair and bring higher revenues and more sponsorships here to DuQuoin.
But their ideas about sponsorship, we help each other in those terms, and hopefully maybe we can garner from some of their sponsors, attract some of them here to DuQuoin as well.
But State Senator Ralph Dunn says the state fairs aren't held to make money.
It'd be great if the fair makes money, but that isn't the bottom line on the fair. The bottom line of the fair is to help entertain the people and to draw money into the community from all around people.
Senator Dunn says state money spent on the fairs is really a very small part of the budget, and the income the fairs bring to the region make the spending well worth it. In Perry County, Eden Schultz, News 3.
Governor Jim Edgar officially kicked off the now self-supporting Springfield State Fair this morning. The governor cut the ribbon on the 144th edition of the fair. The fair will last through August 20th. It's county fair and horse racing day today. Singers Amy Grant and Gary Chapman perform at the grandstand tonight in Springfield. The Williamson County Airport is spending more than $200,000 to upgrade airport security. Find out why later in the news. But first, Jim says get ready for a sizzling weekend.
Just as we expected today, we pushed the clouds out of here and a lot more sun. And at least one sunflower has to be maybe the only person or thing, I guess, a flower, not a person, but the only thing enjoying all of the sun. It did heat the temperatures up, and it looks like it's going to get even hotter throughout the weekend. We did push the clouds off to the east. That took the threat of the thunderstorms away, and we are bringing in all of the sun that we've been watching in the Central Plains. Not a cloud out there, just brilliant sunshine for them. That is headed our way for the weekend. We are going to see the warmest conditions of the year. Temperatures so far this year, we've topped out at 97. It looks like we'll do at least that, plus the humidity is higher than it was back before. 98 degrees last hour in Little Rock and in St. Louis. High pressure on top of us as it drifts off. We're going to pick up a little more of a southerly flow and bring back in the humidity. Actually dropped down just a touch today, but the jet stream still showing the big ridge. It looks like the ridge is going to center right over the top of us for the weekend and actually is expected now to stick around for a couple of weeks. Our high this afternoon was 95, the low this morning 72. Averages for the date 89 and 67, and the record's 106 and 52. We are still at 94. The heat index is still 105, and it's still better to be in the air conditioning. Light winds, the dew point at 72, the barometer falling at 29.88. No rain for the day. For the month, 1 and 35 100ths. For the year, 27 and 29 100ths. About an inch and a half on the dry side. Gabrielle, a named tropical system in the Gulf of Mexico, making landfall probably in the next few hours. Northern parts of Mexico, it looks like southern Texas is going to see some heavy rains from it. We will probably see nothing from Gabrielle. We are watching Felix, still out in the Atlantic, is moving this way right now, projected to make landfall on Florida sometime next week. A long ways off. A lot could change. Nothing going on really around here on Storm Track Radar. The National View, the thunderstorms we've had during the week have moved off to the east. High pressure still on top of us tomorrow morning. That means calm winds, brilliant sunshine early in the morning, and a lot of humidity coming in as that high starts to drift off. Also a rather large area, expecting temperatures highs tomorrow afternoon around 100 degrees. We are very close to it. I won't be surprised if backyard thermometers climb above 100 degrees. Official temperatures tomorrow, I think, are going to be in the 97 to 99 range. For us tonight, warm and muggy with patchy fog and light winds. Looks like temperatures in the low to mid 70s for lows. Very hot and humid with heat indices near 120 tomorrow afternoon. Southwest winds 5 to 10. And it looks like temperatures topping out around 99. Some of us could make 100, others around 97. Partly cloudy, warm and muggy tomorrow night. Same conditions once again with lows in the mid 70s. And as we look ahead, Sunday, back up around 99, 100 degrees, heat index around 120. Take it easy. Monday, a few more clouds coming in, a chance for a thunderstorm at 95, and Tuesday, a much better chance of thunderstorms as a cold front comes close, and all the clouds knocking us all the way back down to 90 degrees, which is actually still above average. By then, I think the average will be down to 88, but still running well above average.
I noticed that sunflower was wilting a little bit, so...
I wonder if he needs more sun or more rain.
I don't know. More rain.
Okay.
Less hot weather.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jim. Security is the reason why Williamson County airport officials are putting an entirely new fence around the airport. Airport manager Charles Stoker says the fence is necessary to keep animals and people out. Stoker says deer in particular have no trouble jumping the existing 4-foot fence. He says the new 6-foot fence will also have barbed wire on top. The more than $200,000 project should take about 3 weeks to finish. In sports, Governor Jim Edgar talks about the possibility of the state funding a new stadium for the Chicago Bears. And Mark shows us why the Dodgers had to forfeit last night's game to the Cardinals. Sports is next. An international flair, I guess you could say, at the PGA Championship.
That's right. So far, South African Ernie Els continues to hold the clubhouse lead at the midway point of the PGA Championship. Yesterday's leader, Michael Bradley, followed up yesterday's record-tying 63 with a 2 over 73 today. He's 6 under for the tournament. Els fired a 6 under 65 today. He is 11 under for the tournament. 1992 U.S. amateur champ Justin Leonard is 8 under after a 66 today. The twosome of Mark O'Meara and Jim Gallagher, who were tied for second yesterday, are still on the course. United States track and field standout Michael Johnson completed a sweep of the 200 and 400-meter sprints today, becoming the first athlete to win both events at the same World Championship meet. Meanwhile, Kim Batten became the first U.S. woman to set a world record in nearly 7 years. She captured the gold in the 400-meter hurdles at the World Championships in a time of 52.61 seconds, surpassing the old mark by 13/100ths of a second. Former Yankee great Mickey Mantle continues his fight against cancer, but his chances do not look promising. Doctors say the cancer that began in his liver and spread to his right lung and stomach may now also be in his bowel. Doctors plan to begin a different type of chemotherapy in hopes of combating the disease. The 63-year-old Mantle is in serious condition at Baylor University Medical Center in Dallas. A former World Series hero for the Dodgers and Tigers called it quits today. Kirk Gibson is retiring immediately to spend more time with his family. Gibson led the Tigers to the World Series title in 1984 after winning the American League Championship Series MVP award. He also led the Dodgers to the World Championship in '88. He was also the National League MVP that season. For the first time since 1979, a major league team has had to forfeit a game because of the behavior of its fans. Last night in Los Angeles, the Dodgers trailed St. Louis 2-1 in the ninth when Raul Mondesi was tossed from the game for arguing a pair of called strikes. Dodgers manager Tommy Lasorda joined in the argument, and he too was tossed. That's when fans began tossing souvenir baseballs onto the field for the second time in the game. This time, the umpires called the game and forfeited the contest to the Cardinals.
I feel very bad about it. I didn't believe that our fans could do something like that, throwing baseballs out on the field.
It's the first forfeit since the White Sox had to forfeit the second game of a doubleheader to the Tigers because of the infamous disco demolition of 1979. Chicago Bears owner Mike McCaskey is threatening to take his team to another city if the state of Illinois does not help him build a new stadium. Governor Jim Edgar, who met with McCaskey yesterday, says he's concerned about McCaskey's latest comments.
I don't think anyone should expect that the state would pay for a new stadium. Now, whether the state would be involved with a local government in trying to revitalize a neighborhood and develop a variety of economic opportunities, that's another issue.
The Bears' lease at Soldier Field expires after the 1999 season.
So there is some time, I guess, to think about it.
Looks like it. Although, you know, all the owners nowadays, it seems like if they don't like their stadium, or they don't like the lease, they're threatening to move their team elsewhere.
That's true. And I guess it's safe to say that there will be no more ball night at Dodger Stadium.
They said they're going to look into the procedures and see if they need to change some things. We'll see what happens.
All right. Thanks, Mark. The International Red Cross is hoping to gain access to Serb detention centers in the former Yugoslavia. That's the top story in today's World News Roundup. Donna Williams reports.
The president of the International Committee of the Red Cross has requested full access to Serb detention centers in Srebrenica and Zepa. The Red Cross wants to determine the fate of thousands of missing men. Many residents say Bosnian Serb soldiers gunned down the men and did what they wanted with the women. President Clinton has vetoed a bill which would lift the arms embargo against Bosnia. Clinton says lifting the embargo will increase America's responsibility in the war. The question now is whether the House and Senate have the votes to override that veto. Thousands of Ross Perot's supporters are in Dallas this weekend for a United We Stand convention. They are hoping to influence the 1996 presidential election. Jesse Jackson and Senator Paul Simon are attending that convention. In the O.J. Simpson trial, the defense is trying to rip apart the state single killer theory. Forensic expert Michael Bodden was under cross-examination today. He contends Nicole Simpson was conscious when she was fatally stabbed. He also testified that Ron Goldman struggled with his killer for at least 5 minutes before he died.
Bodden says there is no way the Los Angeles County coroner could know how many assailants there were. He's being paid more than $100,000 for his work on the case. The championship Carterville Pom-Pom Squad is doing more than just entertaining audiences. Find out why these girls are this week's unsung heroes when we come back. It's hot.
Yes, it is hot, Amy. It's going to be hot all evening long if you're headed out. 93 degrees is where we are right now. Lots of sunshine. By 10 o'clock, it's going to be 83. If we all cross our fingers and think maybe real hard we can get a cold front in here. Don't hold your breath, though.
It's 83. It's cooling off to 83.
83 by 10 o'clock for a low of 73, yeah.
All right. Thanks, Jim. Finally for us tonight, the public loves them for their dancing, but they also recognize them for their volunteer efforts. As Sarah Welch reports, community involvement makes the Carterville Pom-Pom Squad this week's unsung hero.
Members of the championship Carterville Pom-Pom Squad work hours perfecting their routines. But hard work is nothing new to this squad. The girls also spend time helping needy people.
I think everyone appreciates it too, that you're getting out there and helping with everything.
The squad helps raise money for cancer research and education. At an intersection in Carterville, they hold out buckets for donations. During their last collection, they raised almost $750.
Well, we just feel like the community stands behind us in our dancing and what we do, so we want to stand behind the community and however we can and help them out.
And by doing bucket brigades for no matter what organization, I feel like that's the least we can do for as much as they've supported us.
The squad sponsor also supports the team's efforts and says it gives the girls an opportunity to make a difference.
A lot of the public is down on teenagers and see them as just the me group, and these girls are not. These girls give of themselves, and I'm very, very proud of them. They're just not pretty girls in cute outfits. They believe in what they're doing.
As a team co-captain, Lori Blythe knows doing for others is part of being your best, whether it's in or out of uniform.
I don't think we should be considered unsung heroes. I think what we're doing is just helping out our community, and I don't think we should have to be recognized as that.
The Carterville Pom Pom Squad, this week's unsung hero. If you know someone who deserves to be honored as an unsung hero, you can write to us here at WSIL TV, Route 13, Carterville, Illinois 62918. That wraps up News 3 at 6. We'll see you again at 10 tonight. Good night.
You're watching WSIL TV3.